John Burry, Kenilworth. The agendas weren't on with 6:45, I checked there, but it's a double meeting, so it's understandable. I mean, you can understand somebody coming to these things first being a little nonplussed, but I only had one question. It's a little complicated, but the answer actually the answer might be multiple choice. And it's only A and B. You could answer C if you want. But we were doing these, wait for it. We were doing these budget comparisons and went to a whole lot of trouble, but it's worth it in the end. I was comparing salaries from the employee lists to salaries in the budget. And they both totaled 171 million, roughly that. But when looking at them a little deeper, it was as of February 2010, the employee lists, and we split them out, each department and all that. And there were a bunch of departments, county clerk, taxation, freeholders, school superintendent, surrogate, extension services, exactly to the dollar, the different. There were some that were close, county council, administrative services, election board, prosecutor, pretty close between the budget and there. These didn't have overtime. Now there was another category which had a lot of overtime, corrections, runnels, and the sheriff. Their numbers totaled, when you consider the overtime, compared that to the base pay from the employee list. But then there were six other departments that really were way off from the employee lists. That is, they were a lot lower on the budget, and it was confusing me for a while. The county clerk of the board, the county manager, engineering, big time, human services, 4.5 million difference, finance even, about 30% difference, and parks, about 1.2 million. Now that's how it kind of balanced off between the two. But the difference is why the employee lists, which I assume are accurate, and that's base pay, why they would be off from what you're reporting on the budget. That was pretty much my question. Now, the A and B, I see two possibilities for this. A, in these 6 departments, you're going to lay off about 30% of the people this year. That's probably not what you're going to do. I mean, A, I don't really think so. Even though when I look at the Social Security OASI number, that's 11.7 million. Now divide that by 7.65%. You still with me? No. And then you get like 160 million.
I'm trying.
All right,
I'm assuming there's a question here.
Yeah. So A, you're either going to lay off a lot of people because it doesn't match the budget what you have who are currently working there.
Well, that's not true.
Well, wait for it. I mean, A might be better than B when you hear it. Or B.
I don't want to jump ahead.
Yeah. Or B, which is you're providing fraudulent numbers on the budget to keep under the cap. Now,
Go on.
that's about all I could come up with. And so, basically, which is it? If you want, I can leave this with you. It's something I sent to the Division of Local Government Services. It explains it in a little more detail.
Give it to the clerk.
It's my only copy, though.
It's digital.
You offer a copy.
All right.
We'll get you a copy.
All right. You don't have the answer right away. So. It's just something I was curious about.
Yeah.
All right, I'm done. Oh, I've got enough now. No, I'm done. Thank you.
Answer, one of the speakers who gave you the 2 choices of the answers, I would have to say both of those are wrong. For a young fellow who went to Roosevelt County, I don't know how his math works, but there are no layoffs and there are nothing illegal, so I don't know if your question is C, D, but your choices A and B are pretty wacky.
This is my only point, the only reason I came to this, and something I'll put on the website tomorrow, my NJ Voices thing.
See.
And this only came about because we looked through the entire budget, and I know compared the salaries on the employee list to the salaries on the budget they submit. Now there are a lot of nuances to this. The easiest way to understand this, and I've sent a letter to Division of Local Government Services, June 2nd, whatever, I'll post this and all, and I gave this to them today, so they have it. The easiest way I can explain this is taking one department, county manager. You add up everybody's salary on here, it comes to $1,047,884. No overtime, so we don't play with that. On the budget that they submitted to whatever, it says 720,721. Now, that's 320,000 unaccounted for. I mean, now they could say it's a different place, they could make whatever, but we have a breakdown of everything, where every money, there's like 8 departments where it's exact, the salaries, 3 departments where the overtime goes into play. And then there are a bunch of departments, county manager's only 320,000. Human services, engineering, that's $4.5 million difference. So I gave them the option. It's either they're going to lay off a lot of people and the employee list numbers, the budget numbers are right, the employee lists, they won't be there at the end of the year. That was option A. Option B is that they're committing fraud on the budget just because they can't get to stay under the cap. Like getting back to the county manager. They're putting down a number of 720 when the number should be 1047, and that's going down 10 million worth. Where they're getting the money? Maybe bonding. Maybe this bond anticipation note that they're floating, maybe it's coming from there. So that was my point, and I think I'm right because in the closing session where Sullivan answered, his only answer was actually making fun of the Roselle Catholic math department.
You wacky. He said you were wacky.
And he was surprised that someone who went to Roselle RC, I don't know, I guess there's no other RC he could have been referring to, but would come up with these numbers. And
Christian should never behave that way.
no, exactly. And at this point, I'd like to, I remember Mr. Musler, and it's a slap in his face, if anything. And I'll pursue
Question
this.
your math skills. He's insane.
Or Roselle Catholic's ability to imbue me with those math skills.
Oh,
But
he
the point,
graduated from there.
the point is, he didn't bring up Frag Petusniak, whoever it was, to refute me or say anything, because he can't. I mean, this is solid. Then normally, Caroselli wasn't there, he would have come up there, but he didn't. They didn't even go that route. So the only question in my mind is, do they know it? Do they really understand these numbers and that they're playing games? And because I actually raised my, I didn't think Sullivan would. I mean, I'm sure Jallo and Ward don't, but I think Sullivan might actually realize that I caught him at something. And I'll follow up, and hopefully Division of Local Government Services will also.
I don't know if this comes into play. And again, we're citizens. We go to the trouble. It's about midnight now. We go to the trouble to go to freeholder meetings and ask questions and put things together, and we have to sit here and guess. But I know some salaries are paid with grant funds. So I'm wondering if that has something to do with these numbers. If the grant funds
$12 million?
Yeah, they get a lot of the social services is paid by the state, all the welfare
Yes,
stuff.
the human
So I don't
services
know
is different.
I'm not arguing with you, but I'm wondering if something like that plays in here. But I don't know why they wouldn't have easily said that tonight.
Right, that's another thing. Why
Just
couldn't
give
they,
an answer.
If that was the answer, why didn't they give
But
it?
there was no
I
answer.
think you should follow up with a written letter to the freeholders.
They have this. They have this.
Asking them a specific question is to account for that discrepancy
Mm-hmm.
and ask for an explanation.
I'm not.
I think you're entitled to it. You did the homework, you did the legwork.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
And there's a lot of work there.
I'm so
And
impressed
I
with
think
your math
I think the
skills.
taxpayers would like to have that answer, and I think you're entitled to it also.
Well, that's why I sent it to these Division of Local Government Services people. I mean, I'm hoping they'll contact the county and then go from there. I'm pretty much done with this. If I get an
I think you're
explanation,
mistaken.
You
I
should
think
send
you're-
it to Matt Boxer's office, Chip. Yeah, they're interested in Union County. So,
no, I'm just curious for the answer. I mean, and it looks like they're
You
trying
deserve an answer.
to get by the cap. I think they're playing games there, but that's until that's my guess. I mean, that's the only thing that comes to mind. And I gave them the A, their B, and they didn't come up with any C.
and they laughed. They thought it was a big joke.